Hello, Catanians. It's good to see you back here. So, we are playing a boring game of Cities and Ice on the First Island, you might ask? And to which I will reply, normally, it's not the most grand, entertaining, off-the-wall, crazy fun that maybe Cities and Nights with Seafarers would be. But in this specific gameplay, I was like playing Cities and Ice on the First Island, as you see, and I didn't even start recording until about 10 minutes into me playing the game. And I was like, you know what, I just have a feeling about this game that it's going to be a somewhat close game. Let me just record, see what happens. And you will not be disappointed. If you want to watch the whole thing through, I appreciate it. If you just want to skip to the last 5 minutes to see the crazy ending, as the title would suggest, you do whatever you want to do. But this was actually a highly entertaining game. As the dice rolls went on, it just kept getting better and better and better. But here we are, just in the initial beginning part of the game. You see that you can tell what everyone's starting settlements are. You can tell what everyone's starting cities are. And we are currently battling it out for Defender of Catan. And if Blue can manage to activate their knights, which I hope they do not, because if a 3 gets rolled, they can, but if not, they don't have any other wheat hexes at their disposal. So they're going to have to trade in for wheat if they want to get at least one of those knights activated, but hopefully not both. Because as of right now, I'll be the one to get the Defender of Canaan victory point instead of them. Because they have managed to get 2 level 2 knights, whereas I have 1 level 2 knight and 1 level 1 knight. But the difference is both of mine are activated, whereas both of Blue's and Red's single knight are all deactivated. And the barbarians creep ever closer, and you see we already managed to protect our cities the first time. Because, yeah, that's right. Because Blue won the first, I believe Blue won the first go-round. Because Blue's already at 4 victory points, and you see that Blue only has a settlement and a city on the board, so that's only 3 victory points. And no one got Constitution or Printer, from the free instant victory point from those respective progress card stacks. But I went ahead and I built on the 5-8-10 with my settlement. And then I built on the 3-6-9, hoping that I could either get to the ore port, but more importantly, I want to eventually get to the wheat port. Now, I didn't point my road from my city off towards that wheat port on the 6 wheat because I thought that was going to be such a highly contested spot, and then it ended up being wide open. So I have basically that upper left part of the board completely to myself, assuming Red doesn't get a road building and just work their way all up in there on the 2-9-10 and break up my hopes of maybe getting longish road later. But a 3 gets rolled, so it looks like Blue is going to activate both of their knights. Of course, I needed a 3 to get some coin, but I also didn't want a 3 to happen until after the barbarians had invaded. So now, I pretty much have to watch me and Blue tie for Defender of Catan. I was hoping to get the victory point, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But I do have a lot of cards in my hand. I do have level 2 on the blue city improvements, level 1 on yellow and green city improvements each. And we'll see how that goes in terms of getting a metropolis later on. But I trade in for the lumber right now because I was like, I could go ahead and build a road, but I couldn't also build a road and a knight. So I could have activated, but I couldn't build both a road and a knight in that turn. So I could not have built a level 1 knight to go up to 5 knight strength and beat out Blue for Defender of Catan. So this time I was okay with settling for tying. That way I could build a road towards that 3-for-1 port and eventually double down on that 8 sheep and start getting 2 sheep off of an 8, plus we'll have the 3-for-1 port, which is going to come in handy for the rest of the game. I want to get that as early as possible. So Blue ushers and the barbarians, we each take a progress card. I took from the other progress card stack, hoping to get a merchant so I could stop doing insane 4-for-1 trades, and instead maybe put merchant on wheat and trade in wheat at a 2-for-1 rate because 6s are getting rolled pretty well. And there goes an 8, so maybe I could also put merchant on sheep because I have 3 sheep hexes and the numbers are 8, 9, 10. So that is not a bad setup there. Unfortunately, the sheep board looks out of reach. It looks like blue will get to the sheep board before I do. And another good spot on the board that no one even built on yet is the 3-6-11 with the 2 wheat hexes and the lumber hex. And if you can get an inventor later on, you could swap out that 11 for like a 5 or a 9, and then that becomes a even better spot. So it's going to be a race to see. I think blue will get to that spot, the 3-6-11, and actually there's technically two 3-6-11 spots there, because there's 2 11 ore hexes on either side of the 3 and 6 wheat. But since I roll a 7, I steal a card, and then I use bishop and I steal 2 more cards, so I got 3 cards in total that turn. Plus I have trade monopoly, but I don't think anyone really has any commodities. But I will ask for cloth, and there were actually 2 cloth. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I did know there was cloth out there on the board because of that 5 being rolled, as well as an 8 being rolled. So I knew that I could steal from a cloth from each of them and upgrade my yellow city improvements. And I also, to top it all off for that turn, I got the settlement on the 3-for-1 port. So now we're in a better position. My next goal is continue to battle blue for Defender of Catan, but also potentially build a city on that 5-8-10. Because if I can start getting a bunch of cloth coming in, then I will definitely be able to secure that yellow metropolis before anyone else is able to. And then they'll have to turn and try to, change up their game plan and try to battle it out for another metropolis. Because at this point, getting the blue metropolis is kind of far off unless a lot of 3s get rolled. And if blue manages to put a city on that 4-8-10 at the bottom of your screen, then based off of how much 8s are getting rolled and 10s are getting rolled here and there, then blue's going to get all the coin, build all the blue city improvements, get the blue metropolis, and then that will be, good for them but bad for me. So with the number 7 roll, I will put it on the 10 ore, steal a card from blue. I don't want to put it on a hex right now that they have a knight touching, because I want to keep the robber off of my stuff for at least this first half of the game, so that I can ensure my production keeps going up and up and up. Because you see, I don't have a single wheat in my hand. So if I put it on a hex that they have a knight on, they could chase away the robber and put it on one of my hexes. Even if it's on one of my hexes that also has a knight protecting that hex, I have to reactivate the knight, but I have to get a wheat. And right now, 6s are kind of dry in this particular part of the game. So here we go with red, and what a funny name red has, but they roll an 11, and that's not funny because they're getting paper and lumber, and I didn't build on a single lumber hex. So it's kind of amazing that I was able to get to that 3-for-1 port and build on it, because I needed 2 lumber to be able to do that, along with the other cards I needed for the road and the settlement. But just having to trade in for those really makes you wish you had merchant early on or a good port. But sometimes you have to sacrifice 4-for-1 trades. You have to do them early on in order to get more favorable trades that you can have for the rest of the game. So it's all part of the game. And there goes a 5. I will get some brick. I could build a city wall, but I already have a city wall on my singular city. So I will just pass the dice. There goes a 6. So there goes my wheat that I needed. Of course, the barbarians invade. So I can't. Thankfully, we beat out the barbarians with our knight strength, but I had to watch blue get a Defender of Catan victory point. And then the wheat came in after the fact. So now I can activate my knights, but now I have to wait a whole nother round of barbarian advancement in order to have a chance to get a Defender of Catan victory point. I could have got one. I just needed the 6 one turn early on my turn instead of on blue's turn, and it would have been all good. But there goes a 12 by red. Just a random 12. You're going to see 12s get rolled like in just too many times. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of how to put it into words besides using the usual, asinine, crazy, insane. It's just really, head scratching, this game, how much 12s get rolled. And it's funny because no one is built on the 12, which is a wheat hex, all the way on the right side of your screen. So it's like if red had just, instead of building on the 659, which I don't know why they would build anywhere else in the vicinity, but if they built on that 6912, they would have gotten, a considerable amount of wheat over the course of the game. But you see, of course, the 659 is favorable, especially because they have a city and 2 settlements with the knight protecting that 5 sheep hex. So every time a 5 gets rolled, I get a lonely little old brick. Red gets 3 sheep and a cloth. Talk about a power hex right there. And of course, if red gets alchemist, they're probably going to want to use it on 5. So I completely understand that. So red roll. Where's my, that's a tongue twister, but it's just my trying to speak today. Red rolls a 9. I get the cloth. Red definitely wanted 5, so they have to watch me get cloth that they think they deserve, because 5 is equally rolled in as much as 9 in terms of probability. But when you throw in Catan Universe and the way their dice rolls go, it's just all over the place. You never know what you're gonna get. So I seem to be the king of rolling 7, because I think I rolled 7 a lot this game. Thankfully, it was me and not anybody else, but at the same time, I wish I was rolling my own numbers so I can keep my production going, to keep my advancement throughout the game going. But I guess if I'm rolling the 7s and a good amount of the time the other players are rolling my numbers, then I could live with that. That's not too bad. So I go ahead, put it back on that 10 ore because there's no knight protecting it. So the only time it's going to get moved is if someone gets a bishop, blue progress card, or if they roll the 7. Okay, so there goes my knight being activated. I now have 4 knight strength, and I'm hoping that blue does not. As a 12 gets rolled, I hope they do not activate their knights. So there you go. The only person benefiting from these 12s is red, because red has science bonus, and it's crazy the amount of times 11s got rolled, and then of course 4 did get rolled a few times to complement the paper that red needed to get the science bonus. So that's good for them. Irrigation, of course, blue has exactly what they need, so they use irrigation to basically activate their knights to get the 2 wheat they need. And we are right back where we started 2 barbarian attacks ago, where I am tied with blue for Defender of Catan knight strength. But we also look at red. Red is now about to be tied with us if they activate their other knight, but they don't. They pass the dice instead. So now it's just going to be me and blue potentially who get a progress card of our choice. So I pass the dice because I just got a singular sheep, can't do much with that. Will blue usher in the barbarians? They will with a 2. So 12s are getting rolled, and now a 2 gets rolled. And of course, no one's built on the 2. I'm close to the 2, but not quite. So I will choose a yellow progress card once again. And this time I get the merchant that I was looking for last time. Last time I got trade monopoly. But this time merchant's going to go a little bit longer ways for me because I'll get a victory point off it. Plus, I'll be able to trade in at a 2-for-1 rate of whatever resource hex that I put merchant on. Blue gets a nice engineer, so now they can hold just as many cards as me, 9 cards or less, with a and be safe from a robber 7. And there goes a 3, so I'm okay with it. I do notice that red gets science bonus from the 3, so they'll get a wheat. And then with mining, they get 2 ore, and now they have a second city. And of course, it's going also on the 5 sheep. So now they're going to get 2 cloth and 3 sheep every time a 5 is rolled. So they basically need a couple 5s to be rolled, and the yellow metropolis will probably be theirs. So I have to hope that either 5 does not get rolled, or me and blue can shut that 5 down, because that's the most powerful hex on this entire board, and probably will stay that way for the remainder of the game. So I go ahead, I unlock the politics bonus, and I'm in a pretty good spot. I have a good amount of city improvement so far, and also I usually drop down where all the player names are. I usually drop that down and keep it that way so you can see what my city improvements are at all times and how many resource cards I have in my hand. Of course, thankfully, the resource and commodity cards are at the bottom of the screen as well in exact amounts. But later on, I think I do drop down the top part of the screen so you can see what my city improvements are and any time you would like. So with Merchant, blue goes ahead and steals a victory point from me and gives themselves a victory point. Or actually, wait a minute. I didn't have... This is my first Merchant in my hand, so I don't think I yet had Merchant. So I guess blue just rockets ahead to 7 victory points. Red is at 5. With the robber 7 roll, they're going to burn cards. That sucks for them. They had to burn paper off that hand as well. And they put it right on the 9, so now I'm set back a little bit. That's okay, they just took a brick, so no problem there. If I can get a 6, if I can get a 3, or an 8, I'm in good shape. Those are the numbers I want right now. And there goes an 8. What more could you ask for? And I get a second Merchant. So I know that even if I just had one Merchant, I got to use Merchant. Even if I'm not going to use it all that much, I got to steal it away from blue so they don't keep using it to their advantage. And because I got 2 Merchants, I can go ahead, steal it from blue, put myself up to 5 victory points, pull blue back to 6, and I can trade in sheep at a 2-4 rate 1 time this turn. So I'll go ahead, trade in for the wheat, activate my second knight, and we're right back at our 4 knight strength we need to tie blue or red. And there goes a 4, so thankfully we stole that Merchant because blue could have traded once again, brick in at 2-4 rate this turn, but not anymore. Not unless they have a Merchant in their hand. And they get the trade bonus, so now me and blue are at level 3 Yellow City improvements. So now it's a race between both of us to see who can get the Yellow Metropolis first. Because whoever does, the other person's going to have a hard time stealing it back from them. And I thought they were going to steal cloth off using that trade monopoly, but they actually stole paper because they knew for a fact that red had paper because they rolled a 4. So I'm guessing they didn't know that I had cloth, because if they knew that I had cloth, they might have chosen cloth so they could hold me back a little bit longer, because I only need 4 cloth and red or blue only needs 4 cloth to get 2 extra victory points from the Yellow Metropolis. So with the 2 getting rolled, usually only red benefits, but it was a blue dice, so I get Deserter Progress card, and I'm probably gonna use Deserter on... I might use it on red because red already has a level 2 activated knight, and blue has no knights activated. And plus red built a road and a settlement, so now they have a 3-for-1 port, and they tripled down on the 9, so every time a 9 gets rolled, they're gonna get 3 brick. So red has gotten equally on my radar in terms of how powerful they are compared to blue. I thought blue was in the lead for this good part of this first 1/3 of the game or so, almost getting towards halfway. But now red is just neck and neck with blue, it seems like. So I rolled a 9. I knew that red got 3 bricks, so I'm like, let me use Deserter on red just to make them be a little less powerful. I don't want them having a chance to get Defender of Catan, at least not easily. They're going to have to really work hard to get knights back out on the board, but I don't think they're going to be worried about that now that I stole a level 2 knight away from them. So with another 12, that's another science bonus for red. We have to watch to see as they choose one resource of their choice. And they choose a wheat. Okay, so maybe they're looking for another city. Who knows? There goes a 10. Thankfully, I still have Merchant on sheep. So I have 2 sheep in my hand. I can 2-for-1 that if I so need to. That only puts me to 3 cloth if I do that. And my Merchant's being stolen. Wow, okay, that's a power play. So red goes to 7 victory points with that Merchant steal. Plus, yep, they traded in a brick for the cards they needed for the city. And now they have a triple city trifecta, triumvirate, whatever you may call it. on the 5 sheep, so that's 3 cloth and 3 sheep per 5 roll, and that is insanely powerful. Just off the charts. We really have to hope a 5 doesn't get rolled. We really have to hope that the robber will be on that 5 if a 5 gets rolled. So now I'm going to try to see if people will trade me pretty much a sheep for either my ore or my brick, or I could try to get a second ore, or I could try to get a second brick. Any way to try to get that yellow metropolis. But no one was going for a trade, so I just passed the dice because I didn't want to make it obvious by trading into my sheep now for the 3rd cloth, just in case anybody else had some resource monopoly, trade monopoly, bishop, anything along those lines. Commercial harbor even. I don't want to have any chance of them stealing away my precious cloth. So blue uses wedding, and thankfully only red gets affected because red has merchant. They have 3 cities, a settlement. They are just doing so well. So they're going to have to cough up some cards to blue. But thankfully I'm okay. I'm back down to 4 victory points. But it's good that blue used wedding at that point in time, because come next turn, I might be able to get the yellow metropolis boost up to 6 victory points. But even then, wedding wouldn't take effect on me because I'd be tied with blue in victory points. So no worries there. But actually, I'll have to go to 7 victory points because I need to use merchant to trade in sheep at a 2-for-1 rate in order to be able to trade 4 of my sheep for 2 cloth to have 4 cloth total to get the yellow metropolis. So I'll be at 7 points on my next turn. So we'll be in good shape there. So yeah, sometimes, the victory points don't tell the whole story. You have to see what's about to happen, what kind of momentum people have, what cards they have, what level city improvements they're on. All kinds of things are factors at play here. So with that 10 that we're getting, I get a 6th sheep, and not only can I get the yellow metropolis, but then I'll have 2 sheep left over to trade in as my dog starts barking, and another 12 gets rolled. What is with these 12? So red, once again, take whatever you want. You deserve it. So they take a sheep, it looks like. I'll place merchant on sheep. I'll steal a victory point away from blue. Or actually, I'm sorry, red. Red had merchant, so red's back down to 7 victory points. Blue is also at 7 victory points. And with this metropolis, I will throw that down on the board, and now everyone is at 7 victory points. So everyone is 6 victory points away. Now, keep in mind, no one has taken longest road yet. This is still up in the air. It could honestly go to anybody at this point. If red links up their road systems, then they'll be at 5 roads. If blue manages to get a road building card, then they'll be able to build 2 roads off of their road system, probably the one up top. Maybe they want to go from the city and go left on the down towards the in between the 3 wheat and the 10 sheep, and then build one more road for a 5th road. That'll be longest road for them, pointing the 5th road towards the 3, 6, 11, right near my 10 sheep. So that can happen. Or I have each of my road systems are both 2 in length, so if I get the road building card and I can somehow trade in 2 sheep for a lumber, I can build a 5th road. It's anybody's longest road. So we're going to see if it gets taken now or if it doesn't get taken till later in the game, when those 2 victory points will so easily be able to be built. Because of course, later in the game, people might be at 3 length road or 4 length road. So getting longest road is one of the easiest ways to get 2 victory points later in the game. Okay, so the robber is back on my 9 sheep. What a bummer, but this is how things go. Okay, red has the science bonus and has had it for a while. So they are 4 paper away from getting the green metropolis. So we're going to see what happens with that. I am not at all close to getting the green metropolis, so it's kind of up to blue to work on taking that, because blue has a city on that 4 lumber as well as red, and red promotes a knight. So now they have 2 level 2 knights. that knight I stole from them a while ago, that was level 2 knight. They managed to get back to where they were. So we'll have to watch that. I have 4 knight strength so far. Okay, now red's at 4 knight strength. The barbarians are halfway to attacking. And another 12. Have you ever seen 12 get rolled this many times? I'm looking at the dice statistics as I need some water for my throat. And 12 has gotten rolled more than some usually more commonly rolled numbers, and that is just crazy to me. You know, what can you do? You just gotta go along with this crazy sequence. So I'm gonna build another road, and instead of building on the lumber port, I'm gonna choose to keep my deactivated level 1 knight there. If I can activate it later on, that's great. But instead of getting the ore port, I think it's better for me to build on the 3-8 because we see how much 8s are getting rolled. Plus, I only have a 3 to give me ore, so it's not like I'm needing to utilize the ore port all that much. So I already have a 3-for-1 port. I have merchant on sheep. I have enough trading benefits, you know, enough ports essentially. Plus I have merchant fleet in my hands. So the ore port is kind of useless to me, not so helpful. Maybe after I get on the 3-8, but then I can't get the ore port because building on the 3-8 spot will allow no one else to build on the ore port for the rest of the game, because each ore port spot will be only 1 road away from either a settlement or a city. As you'll see here, if I can build the settlement on the 3-8, hopefully blue is not thinking about trying to get to that 3-8 spot, because that's what I would really like to have. So instead, they actually get the politics bonus. So blue may be getting the blue metropolis. We're going to see here. That's going to boost them up to 10 victory points if they do so. Thankfully, I've already secured away the yellow metropolis, so they have to build the yellow city improvements level 4 and then to 5. Okay, so red just steals everyone's sheep. So now I'm back down to 1 sheep. I was planning on trading in that sheep for a card of my choice, but now I have to wait to roll some more sheep. I roll a 3. Okay, that's good. So I get some coin. But I'm going to need 3 more coin. Plus, I'm going to need another city on the board if I even have the hope of getting a second metropolis. So I'm pretty far out on getting the blue metropolis. At first glance, I'm only 3 coin away, but I'm also 3 ore and 2 wheat away because, like I said, you need another city so you can build another metropolis. And blue has 3 cities on the board at this point, so they are actually only 4 coin away. Maybe they already have some coin in their hand. If that's the case, because they just rolled an 8, so they definitely have coin in their hand, but it looks like they don't quite have either the 4 coin they need or the other cards they need to trade in, because it looks like the only port they have is the sheep port. So looks like it's going to be a little tough for them to trade in for 4 coin, at least on this turn. They're going to need some more 8s to be rolled. So they pass the dice, but not until after they promote their level 2 knight to a level 3 mighty knight. So now they have 5 knight strength. Me and red are still stuck at 4. So if blue gets this Defender of Catan victory point, they'll be at 9 victory points. Think about this. They'll be 4 victory points away, and we know a 4-point play is totally possible. Blue could get Longest Road and the blue metropolis. And that's not many cards to build those 4 points, so they're actually not far off from winning the game. And I was hoping I didn't usher in the barbarians because I have level 3 blue city improvements, which gives me the politics bonus, so I can upgrade my level 2 knights to level 3 mighty knights. But just as I'm about to do that, the barbarians decide to invade on my turn that I roll the dice. But thankfully I do roll a 7, so I do get to shut blue down, and I take a coin from them, so thankfully I have slowed them down a little further from getting the blue metropolis, so that is a great thing. So now we have that extra peace of mind for a little bit longer this game. But because I could get 4 coin right now, but I can't build the metropolis because I don't have that second city on the board, so I actually have to go for the settlement instead, because that's the better play. I had to trade in a bunch of things to do so. Because I had the trade bonus, I can trade in 2 coin, which I don't really want to do, but I kind of have to at this point. So I trade in the 2 coin, I trade in the sheep, and I use merchant fleet on ore, so I can trade in 2 ore for the lumber, and now I can After all that trading, I could build a settlement on the 3-8. And the reason that was so important to me because I did not want blue getting to that 3-8 spot before I did. You know, I didn't know exactly what cards that they had in their hand, but I knew they had, 7 cards, and we know it only takes 6 cards to build a road and a settlement. They may not have had that exact combination, but you just never know because they also have 2 progress cards in their hand, so anything is possible. So I didn't want to take a chance of waiting an extra turn to see if blue is going to take my 3-8 spot. But now that I have the 3-8 spot and a 3 just got rolled, instead of getting 1 ore and 1 coin, I get 2 ore and a coin. So that's going to help me build another city faster. That was the also big benefit of building on a 3-8, so I could get more ore quickly, so I could then hopefully pair that with a 6 dice roll and get another city out on the board, and from there set myself up to hopefully sneak in here near, the second half of the game, take that blue metropolis before blue can do just that. So I'm at 8 victory points. I'm going to roll a nice 10, so I get a sheep. But again, there's not much I can do here. I do have a spy though. So hopefully blue's got something good. And blue also has a spy, so I'm actually going to double spy this turn. Why not? It's the smartest choice. It makes the most sense. And it's very satisfying to steal someone's spy and then just use their spy again immediately. And I took from red this time because I was hoping red had a card that was better than blue's diplomat or intrigue, but it turns out red just also had an intrigue, which is not super useful to me, so I'll just kind of take that, and I'm going to hope that blue uses their diplomat this turn and that they use it on red, because actually they can't use it on me because I don't have an open road, but red does have an open road, and if they connect up the road systems, they'll have longish road, and I hope blue recognizes that and uses diplomat to rip their open road off the board, because that would be very, very helpful. Because we don't want red getting to 10 victory points with longish road, and then if they're able to get 4 paper in their hand and get the green metropolis, that'll put them up to 12 victory points. And plus I have merchant, so if they get merchant in their hand later, that's the 13th victory point they need. So these victory points can stack up pretty quickly this late in the game, when multiple people are at level 3 of a certain color city improvement. And thankfully blue does use diplomat on red. They do roll a 7 and it shut down my 3 ore. So I understand they're going to shut me down because I'm the one with a metropolis. Even though me and red are tied, maybe I look like the more powerful player here because I'm also closer to stealing the blue metropolis away from blue before blue can get it. So I think that's why blue shut me down. Okay, back to me now after that 2 got rolled. These weird 2s and 12s this game, they're way too common. I don't like it. So I rolled the 7, put it on the 10 ore. Thankfully, I steal a 2nd ore from blue, so now I'm just waiting on a 6. If I could get a 6 and then manage to get another ore, I'll have a city in my hand. And look at that 5. Look at 3 cloth finally go to red in a singular turn, plus 3 sheep, and they can trade those 3 sheep in for a 4th cloth if they want to, because they have the 3-for-1 port. And with 10 cards in their hand, let's see what they roll. Okay, thankfully it was not another 5, because that would probably have been insane and maybe even enable them to not only build the level 4 yellow city improvements, but maybe even gather up 5 cloth immediately and steal my metropolis in the same turn. So now I'm very worried. They're at level 4, so am I. So they're 5 cloth from stealing my metropolis. But at this point, I was like, you know what? It's too close in terms of people taking longest road, in terms of the race for that blue metropolis. So I can't really trade in all of my cards to get 5 cloth, because I have to go chase down that blue metropolis, because I think that's my only hope of winning and my only hope of preventing blue from getting the win. But of course, I alchemist the 3, so I wanted to alchemist the 8 because I would have gotten an ore and I would have gotten 2 sheep, but I alchemist the 3 instead, so I get a coin and 2 ore, and that way blue only gets 2 wheat instead of getting a sheep, a cloth, an ore, and a coin, because that would have been too powerful for them to get that. So I do the 3 instead to enable me to build a city. I put the city on the 5, 8, 10 because I want to really up my production on those hexes. If I can get a lot of cloth late in the game, I can trade that in at a 2-for-1 rate to get to this coin as quickly as I can. Because now I'm at 2 coin. We'll see what blue rolls. Blue rolls a 9, perfect. So I get another spy, and red gets 4 brick. If red gets another merchant or merchant fleet, they're probably going to use it for brick and then trade in brick at a 2-for-1 rate. So it's all coming down to the wire. If my yellow metropolis gets stolen, I'm probably going to lose this game. I have to see if I can win this game in the next, let's say, 10 minutes, because that's how many minutes are left if you're watching this video here on YouTube. Red does have 12 cards, so they're definitely going to do something here. They may even take longest road this turn. They do have a 3-length road, but if they connect that road between their top 2 cities on the top of the 5 sheep. Oh, and they have... Actually, that's blue. It's blue's turn. I'm already getting ahead of myself because it looks like red's about to take longest road. But blue actually has road building, so it's a little bit better. But blue is also tied with me for the lead in victory points. So if anybody was to get that road building card, I want it to be me as opposed to anyone else. Okay, so blue builds 2 roads down that way. So actually they don't build, they build directly down to the 3, 6, 11. The second, or the left 3, 6, 11 spot instead of the right 3, 6, 11 spot. They probably want to take the left 3, 6, 11 spot and build on there so that red can't get that spot, because that is a very good spot to have, especially this late in the game. That could be just enough production to add to your overall production to boost you ahead to do other things to win in this later part of the game here. So now, okay, let's take a look. Red could be getting the green metropolis, but I think they're going to try to take longest road in their turn, because now it's their turn. Now I'm all on the same page here. I got excited, I got ahead of myself, but now I'm on the same page. They steal a card from me. They do have that 3-for-1 board. So I think they're going to take longest road instead of try to trade in for more cloth to save up for the 5 cloth. Because if they take longest road, then that kind of makes it hard for blue to take longest road and puts red to 10 victory points and then keeps blue from getting to 11 victory points. Oh, so red's actually going to try to build a road up there, but they don't have the cards for a settlement. So they're going to contest, and they're going to use Inventor to make that spot even better. So now it's a 3, 6, 9. Instead of a 3, 6, 11, there goes a 6 dice roll. So there's some wheat for me in red. Okay, so whoever builds on that spot is going to be the player that I have to beat, I think, this game. So I'm going to see... Oh, and I spied on red, and I got medicine. That's perfect for me. I already have a city available for a metropolis, but if I can get another city out on the board, that'll put me to 10 victory points, and then we'll be in a very good spot for what's about to happen here. Okay, there goes a 7. I do get a 5th progress card, so I'm probably going to give up Intrigue because I have Warlord, Merchant Fleet, Medicine, and that might be Master Merchant, which is blocked by the bottom right of your screen by the trade icon. Okay, so I get rid of Intrigue, and yes, I have Master Merchant. What a clutch progress card to get, especially this late in the game, because if blue builds a victory point, then I can steal from them. Or if they steal my merchant, I'll go down to victory points, they'll go ahead, and then I can still... And there it goes, there's merchant. Okay, so blue steals merchant away from me. They're now at 10 victory points, which is very scary, but if they don't win this turn, then I'm going to use Master Merchant on them on my turn, and that's probably going to be very, very helpful. Wow. Okay, we're coming in down to the wire here with the last 6 minutes or so of this game. Blue used my merchant, and now it's their merchant, to help them build the settlement, so they took the 369 spot. Oh my gosh, there's Constitution. Blue gets a free victory point, instant victory point from the blue progress card stack. They're now at 12 victory points. Okay, what do they need to do? They need to take... If they take longest road, if they get the blue metropolis, it's all over. It's so over. It's just... It's done. If they build a city, Wow, this game is so close right now. Okay, red is taken from science bonus. Presumably, yep, they're not built on an 8, so they are taken from science bonus. They're using Saboteur. Okay, that is not the card that I wanted to be played on me this late in the game. But of course, it is a good move. It is a good play this late in the game. I have to give them that. So I'm going to give up a cloth and some sheep because I want to keep the coin. If I can manage to get 3 more coin, then I can make sure that blue has to take longest road or build a city in order to win this game. Okay, so now it's my turn. There goes a 6. Okay, now everyone's getting wheat this time. Not only me and red, but now blue is built on that 6 wheat over on the right side of your screen. But I do have Master Merchant, so I know for sure that blue has wheat, but let's see what else they have. Because I'll use Master Merchant on blue, and then I'll use Bishop, and I'll probably place it on either the 4 lumber or the 6 wheat or the 9 lumber, so I can definitely steal 2 cards with Bishop, 1 from each player. And blue has coin and they have ore. That's exactly what I need this late in the game. Plus I have medicine. What a crucial spy steal. I stole medicine earlier from red, so now I'm gonna use Bishop, put it on the 6 wheat, so now it can't be chased away. There's no knights protecting that 6 wheat. I steal some cards, 1 from blue, 1 from red. Now I use Merchant that I stole from red. I now have 3 cities on the board. I have 2 coin in my hand. Blue only has 2 cards, so I know that even if Innate gets trolled, blue will probably not be able to get the blue Metropolis on their next turn. So I have to hope, I really have to hope that they don't roll an 8 and that they don't have like a merchant in their hand. So I'm going to pass the dice because there's not much else I can do. I do build a second knight or promote another knight, and it works out. I was debating on whether trying to save those cards to trade in, but I'm glad I did it because I actually sneak in there. I win Defender of Catan by being at 6 knight strength, the blues 5. So I'm up to 10 victory points. Blues at 12. I don't think they can win on this turn. I think I only need 1 more turn because an 8 got rolled. I got the coin because I have a city on the 8 as well. I know that blue has coin, but I don't think they have 4 coin. So if they pass the dice, I have a chance. Because if I can get the blue Metropolis, I'll go up to 12 victory points. And I don't think red has a chance of coming back and taking the blue Metropolis anytime soon. And this is the crazy ending here. This is it, guys. Printer. Blue not only got the free instant victory point from the blue progress card stack, they got Printer from the green progress card stack. So now red takes longest road. Red has to win on their turn if they have any hope of winning this game. I have to win on my turn if I have any hope of winning this game. Because blue has won, but they didn't win on their turn. They didn't have 13 victory points on their turn, so all they have to do is wait for it to be their turn and then roll the dice. But there's still a chance. There's still a small chance here. So red uses Commercial Harbor. I'm going to give a cloth because, of course, this coin is so precious to me right now. Red took longest roads. They're at 10 victory points. They just barely have longest road. They only have a 5-length road. This is comical in a game of Cities and Knights. Only a 5-length road is the longest road this late in the game. As I'm getting flash with instant messages here, but ignore those for now. We're in a crazy game of Cities and Knights on the first island. Would you expect red to also take the green Metropolis to be at 12 victory points? And because they only had a single card left, they have to pass the dice. That sucks for them. And I roll an 11, so it looks like I have the cards I need and the progress cards I need to win. Have you ever seen a game of Cities and Knights where someone already had the victory points they needed, but it wasn't their turn when they had the victory points, and someone else goes in and steals the game before it gets back to their turn? Because that's exactly what just happened here. This was the craziest ending to a Cities and Knights game I've ever played. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to take longest road, and I'm going to take that blue Metropolis, and I'm going to be out of here with a win. And I did not expect this game to be as entertaining as it was, but I am so happy that it turned out this way. So I steal the blue Metropolis. If blue took that blue Metropolis, this game would have already been over. I probably wouldn't have posted it. It probably wouldn't have been that fun. Wouldn't have been that crazy entertaining. but I was able to barely get the blue metropolis. I held on to my yellow metropolis because red never stole it. And then instead of taking longest road, I'm like, you know what? Let me just use road building and then get me a new spot to place a settlement, place down that settlement with authority, get to my 13th victory point. And then I had 13 victory points. Blue also had 13 victory points. Red had 12. They were incredibly close. This was probably the closest game of Catan in general I've ever played. So me and Blue both had 13 victory points, but I got the 13 on my turn. And that was the key difference. That was the story of this game. I won. What an incredible game. I still would have posted, even if Blue won, I still would have posted this game. It was just that crazy close of a game. It came down, all the metropolises later in the game, you know, mainly the green and the blue one, and of course longest road later in the game. What a crazy game. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.